T.B.Photo X1.5 TFX, and welcome back to another video. Well, we're gonna do now a little bit of a consumer evaluation video, and this is what it's gonna be about. Nikon's creative lighting system SB600, SB800 and SB900. 3 speedlights compatible with the creative lighting system. In this episode, an overview of the features of the different models, which one is the most value for the money, and a little bit of accessories to get the most out of your flash photography. This must be one of the first parts of a YouTube merchandise that I've ever bought for myself. It's a coffee/tea mug from Bad Obsession Motorsports. If you like dry British humor about two guys from Shropshire, I believe, that wants to make a four-wheel drive Mini Cooper by using all Toyota Celica parts, really recommended this channel. Probably gonna put a link to that one in the description. Well, Nikon creative lighting system and flash photography in general. Something that I've dabbled a lot in for the past year or so, and now I think I have enough user experience with some of the parts in this system that I think I can tackle a little bit of a overview and a little bit of a guide maybe to what I believe is a good purchase at the time of this recording at least. But let's get on with it, shall we? Well, as you can see, I have 3 different flash model units represented in my current lineup of the creative lighting system, and some other accessories and so on, but we're going to take it a little bit step by step and start off with the flash units themselves. And I have actually taken a lot of the information about these from Nikon's own website, so it's the manufacturer's website that has dictated a little bit of the information in this video. First off, in the lineup we have the Nikon SB600, which is the smallest one in the creative lighting system. Let's see here, we have a little bit of the manufacturer's specifications. It is fully CLS compatible, it has iTTL, DTTL, TTL and full manual mode. Contrary to the bigger brothers in this system, the SB600 lacks a light sensor. That means that you can't use fully automatic mode when it is used as a standalone flash. Moreover, it has a guide number of 30, which is decent for a flash gun in this size range. It has a native zoom range from 24 to 85 millimeters, which goes from fairly decent wide angle up to the starting of what has been considered portraiture and light telephoto. It also can be has its zoom range can either be activated manually or automatically when the hot shoe or when the flash gets information through the hot shoe from the camera body on what type of focal length the current lens is set to, or if it is a prime lens, what the prime lens's focal length is. So that's a little bit of an overview of the SB600. Other features is that it has a built-in diffuser, or rather diffuser card here to make it more wide angle than the native. Most of the other models in the creative lighting system makes it so it becomes a 14mm. I didn't find that specific piece of information on the website, but suffice to say that I think that also makes this into a 14mm. So it goes basically from 14 to 85mm in zoom range. So quite a decent little flash gun. Also, a standard feature on all of these flashes is a plastic diffuser that softens the light for certain applications. Quite very usable little accessory that, yeah. The problem only with this one is that the diffuser is a little bit loose on the flash. It doesn't click in firmly and so on, so it has the ability to get lost as a accessory. Next up in the lineup we have the middle ground in this system. It's the SB800, which is the middle child as to my the little system here. I know for a fact there is a SB700 as well, but since I don't own any copies of that particular flash unit, I can't really have an opinion on it. Suffice to say then, on many of the forums and so on, it has been noted that the SB700 has had some teething issues with not being that reliable. But since, again, I don't own it, so I don't have any opinion of my own with that particular unit, or rather that particular model, I should probably say. The SB800, however, is again fully CLS compatible. It has ITTL and some other great features not found on the smaller SB600. This include a flash value lock, auto high sync speed, which means that this flash is apparently able to be used up to 1/4000 of a second. And it has also flash color control, which means that you can use different gels on the front of this flash, and these gels will actually help to correct for different lighting conditions when you're predominantly indoors and you have incandescent or tungsten or fluorescent lights that has a different color temperature than sunlight. And if you want to know the specific Kelvin values for those, I would recommend turning to the manufacturer's website to show what color temperature the gels will give you. Some other new features that sets the SB800 apart from its younger sibling is the ability that it has a connection for a quantum pack or a other type of auxiliary battery pack. It also has a built-in light meter, which means that this flash unit has the ability to be used with full automatic as a standalone flash unit in the creative lighting system. Also, what it has, contrary to the SB600, is the ability to be controlled via PC sync port instead of the traditional hot shoe. So it's a fairly much more feature-packed flash compared to the SB600. Some other features can be noted is the dedicated modeling light button. All of these flashes that I own has a dedicated test button to test the flash function when it gives off a pre-flash, but also exclusively to the SB800 is a modeling light button that actually gives you a continuous source of light, so as a photographer you can actually check how the flash is illuminating the subject before you even take the picture. Also, a little bit of an accessory for the SB800 that I haven't seen on other flash units is a fifth battery compartment. The thing you do is you basically detach the... I don't really want to do this on camera because, yeah, no, I could do it. What you do is basically you remove the flash battery door, and you attach the fifth battery door and fifth battery compartment, and you put the door on the SB800's fifth battery compartment. This will actually extend the battery life and also do a little bit of the recycling time on this flash unit. So it's a neat little accessory that is basically exclusive to the SB800, at least in my experience. Furthermore, the SB800 is surprisingly the most powerful of the flashes in the creative lighting system, having a guide number of 38. It also has a native zoom range from 24mm all the way up to 105mm, which means that this one will actually cover most of the most popular portrait zoom ranges. Also, it has a built-in flash wide angle card, or whatever you want to call it, that gives you a 14mm equivalent. Also in the SB800 is that it has a built-in, what is it called, a flash bounce card, a white card that is able to bounce the flash if you have it a little bit on an angle, and it will bounce the flash to your subject and also diffuse it a bit, giving you a softer illumination. Also, a nice little touch that the Nikon engineers has done is on the back side of the bounce card you have a little bit of an instruction manual printed that will give you the ability to show how to access some of the hidden features in the flash menu system. And speaking of the menu system, it's fairly standard in most flashes nowadays, but if you access the special features, you will see that the SB800 is also able to be used as a controller unit. What does that mean? Well, in the creative lighting system, Nikon has made it so that one flash can actually trigger other flashes, and that the other flashes can use ITTL, manual, or automatic mode depending on the models that are used as standalone wirelessly controlled flashes. So the SB800 can then actually control 3 different flash groups, A, B, and C, but also you can include the SB800 itself in the exposure. So in essence you can have the control over 4 different flash sources. More about that later. But then that's a little bit of the overview of the SB800. It has fairly more features than the SB600. It is slightly more powerful than both the SB600 and the SB900, which is the final one in the series. Also, it comes with a built-in diffuser, and this one, compared to the 600, sits much more firmly on the unit. And of course, as stated before, the gels for different color corrections. Finally, among my examples of the creative lighting system and the speed lights from Nikon is the former, I should say, flagship flash gun in the series, the SB900. Well, why is it the former one? Well, the SB900, as is shown here, had a little bit of a teething problem. When it came out on the market, the professional crowd using these, and I think the majority were wedding photographers that used the quantum pack or other battery packs for this flash in order to shorten the recycle time and be able to take photos with full flash power in rapid succession. Well, what they started to notice was that this flash had a tendency to overheat. And Nikon traced this to a non-upgradable firmware, which made the necessity to come out with a replacement flash model, which became the Nikon SB910. That replaced the SB900 quite quickly. But as a happy amateur, the kind of person that just used these fairly more sparingly and not in the same rapid succession as most professionals, I would say that the overheating is a non-issue. So for the happy amateur, I would really recommend the SB900, so you shouldn't be discouraged from this model because of the fear of overheating. For me, it has been a non-issue. But there is, again, a little bit of the manufacturer's specifications. The SB900 is again fully CLS compatible. It has ITTL, it has a 3-version flash metering or flash lighting modes. It has color correctional filters like its younger brother, the SB800, but the difference is that the SB900 has these little tabs on the gels that actually tells the flash which gel is currently attached to the flash unit, which is kind of a neat accessory. Also for that, it has this little plastic shell that is not a diffuser, but is actually a holder for the gels. So on the front here you have a little bit like a barcode scanner that actually checks out which type of gel is currently attached to the flash. Also, as most of the others like the SB600 and 800, the SB900 has a built-in wide-angled attachment, which makes it into a 14mm equivalent. Natively, the internal zoom range is 17 to a whopping 200mm, which means that this flash will go from a wide angle all the way to telephoto when it comes to the zoom range. The guide number is 34, which is 4 units lower than the SB800, which is a little bit strange on the count that this is supposed to be the flagship in the lineup. So it also has supporting some built-in autofocus assist lights, and also it has a PC sync connector. So all in all, it's a very decent flash unit. A little bit of a downside for it is that it doesn't have, like the SB800, this one doesn't have a dedicated modeling light feature. It has either that you have to go into the menus and change the settings from having this red button from being the pre-flight checker to a pre-flash checker, or a modeling light. So you actually have to choose, depending on your shooting style, which one you want to use. Which is a little bit strange when the SB800 has a dedicated modeling light built in. Well, time for a bit of a summary. None of these speedlights can be considered bad products, but that's to be expected from a quality brand like Nikon. Though there are some shortcomings with some of the models and some strength as well. So let's go over them, shall we? So SB600, low used prices on eBay, that's good. AF assist light is straight lifted from the bigger brother SB800. And with a compact design of 68 x 123.5 x 90mm, it makes it an ideal flash for travel. Well, here's the negatives then. No on-flash light meter, so no automatic mode. And a lower guide number of 30 makes it good for close-up and macro and spotlighting. But when you're trying to do wider fields of view within a crowd, that might be something of a drawback. Some of my units, at least, have had a bit of noisy zoom. When you're zooming, it has a bit of noise, so a little bit of a gear grind on some units. Don't know if that's common throughout the entire range or not, but that's basically it. So we have come to the middle model in the range of speedlights we have tested, and it's the SB800. Well, optional 5th battery to shorten recycle time and battery life is a good plus. Command mode to use with a creative lighting system is also a good plus. External battery pack connector is also a very good feature for the price and for the strength of this flash. More about that later. Yet another higher-end feature is the high sync speed of 1/4000th of a second, coupled with the strong guide number of 38, and the on-flash light meter, which enables you to use auto mode both as a standalone flash unit, as an on-camera flash, and with a creative lighting system. The negatives then. The battery door can feel a bit flimsy, and when you are taking it off to install the battery compartment for the 5th battery, you feel that it's a bit flimsy and you risk breaking it. At least that's what I feel. But it's also hard to find a lower priced unit on sites such as eBay, etc., which talks to that this unit keeps its value fairly well. So, and finally the SB900, the former flagship speedlight in the Nikon lineup, and yeah, we can see that it has a good second-hand value on internet auction sites as eBay, etc. It has a master mode and 3 light patterns: a center, standard, and even. Another very good plus for this speedlight is the huge zoom range that goes from, what was it now, 17 to 200 millimeters, and also the integrated intelligent color gel sensor. But there are a few drawbacks to this unit. First of all, it's its tarnished reputation for overheating that was confirmed to be because of a non-upgradable hardware or firmware, and it's hard to find a bargain that talks again to the good second-hand value. And there's no dedicated modeling light button as stated like the SB800 has. And also this unit, along the other ones actually, has no old school TTL on it, which means that if you are a older school Nikon user that still uses film cameras, there is no way you can use TTL with this unit on, for instance, a Nikon F5, for instance. You have to have at least an F6 in order to get the iTTL, which is confirmed by Ken Rockwell's website, link in the description. Thank you. Okay, now I have a little bit of an overview of these speed lights, and which one would I actually recommend you buy if you are out there to do flash photography. Well, if you're gonna get one flash and have that for the rest of your photographic career, I would strongly recommend you to get the SB800. This is the one that I would recommend because of all the features that are packed into this one, and of course also that it is the strongest one in the lineup. And if you're gonna buy this used, make sure you get all the accessories with it, like the 5th battery compartment, the diffuser, and the gels to be able to change the color balance. So many times this one will just be sold without any of the accessories, which I think is a little bit iffy, but if you're gonna have more than one, then it might be a little bit overseeable. But I would recommend you to try to get, if you're gonna get this, get it with all the bits and pieces that are supposed to be with it. Secondly, which one would I get if I was supposed to expand my creative lighting system? Well, unfortunately I would say it is to get the flagship, the SB900 or the SB910 when that starts to come down in price. As stated many times, Nikon flashes are great quality and have good build quality. All of these are actually made in Japan, which has become a byword for quality. Why would I then get the SB900? Well, it is because of the dedicated built-in. This one also has the ability to be a control unit for the creative lighting system, just like the SB800. Also, both the SB800 and 900 have the built-in light meters, which means that these can be used on full automatic mode. Also, the SB800 can go from a very wide angle natively to a very spot-specific 200 millimeters, which is a very good bonus, which means that you can put this a fair distance away from the subject if you're photographing in a wide angle and still spotlight the subject, which makes this a very good flash to get. But of course, again, like with the SB800, if you're gonna get an SB900 or 910, get it with all the accessories. That's very important. Finally, would I recommend you get the SB600? A lot of photographers or some YouTubers I've listened to have said that these are very unreliable and cheaply made. Well, I would beg to differ a little bit on that one, because these have worked brilliantly for me. It's the one that I have the most units of, because the resale value of these have been low, which is a positive for the first-time buyer. What would I recommend if you are one of those that do a lot of macro photography and you want to use a flash? These one are actually quite good for that one. So the guide number of 30 will not be an issue when doing extreme close-up and macro, because at those distances you don't really need that much power anyway. Another great feature with these ones is if you use these on manual or in iTTL, you can actually place these ones fairly well hidden behind subjects and so on, and give them a little bit of a key light or a backlight. So for creative photography, these are actually very well usable. And I will have some examples of what you can do with some of these when we go over some accessories. But again, these ones, the SB600s, are not a bad purchase per se, but you have to keep in mind the limiting factors, like the lack of a built-in light meter, and the lack of quantum pack compatibility. If you want my advice for what is one of the best accessories to get when starting to get a little bit more creative and take more control of your light, well, the first accessory I would like you to get, or rather that I would recommend you to get, is this, the SC29. The SC29 is a dedicated flash cable. It's a coil cable that makes it very stretchable, so you can stretch it out fairly decently. It has a built-in dual autofocus assist light that can be turned on and off from the cable itself. It has a tripod screw, so you can put a handle or anything on this, so you can really get it like a little bit more control and have a good grip on the entire system. But this is actually a very good piece of gear to have, and I have shown this in previous videos from the past summer when I was out doing macro shots in nature and so on. Then this one was very usable indeed, to be able to really be able to spotlight and take control from which direction the light is coming from when taking macro shots. And also for product shots and so on, this is a great tool to keep the full ITTL and still get a good control of the light positioning when using the creative lighting system, or a flash on-camera flash, but you want to, instead of using on-camera flash that is famous for giving a very harsh light, you can do the trick when you twist the flash head around and bounce it off a white wall or something. But this one will actually give you more creative control over from where the light is coming from. So when you have graduated from using a flash cable and you want more flashes and you want to be able to move them more freely in your workspace, I would really recommend you to get one of these. This is probably one of the most specific pieces of flash control gear that I would recommend you to get. It is the SU800. This is a control unit for the entire CLS system or creative lighting system. And this will both be compatible with the Nikon dedicated close-up or macro mini flashes, and it also has the ability to control 3 groups of flashes A, B, and C. And with this unit, you put it on the hot shoe of your camera, and it will be able to give you full ITTL, full manual control. It will give you full automatic control and so on. So you have all the features of each flash packed into this one. So you have a very good control range of all the flash power settings and so on. And you can even turn off individual groups in order to give you that control. Well, when you have this system now with flashes and you want to give them a little bit of a more versatility in order to place them around the subject, I would recommend you go on eBay and get some of these very cheap tripod flash holders. They usually come with just like this. Basically, it's a tripod construction. They're telescopic as such, you can really control the height of them, but they're basically made for studio strobes. But what I would say is that you can go on eBay and get something like this. It's a flash cold shoe head that is tiltable and panable, and you just put it on like so, and you just screw it in place, and there you have a great little holder for your flash. And these are, have 1,001 uses in my opinion. Really great, fairly affordable, and they will last you a lifetime as long as you don't use them as a ball bat. What can you get then as accessories for these tripods? Well, some of the most old school flash accessories you can get are umbrellas. I mean, these ones, you can get them a dime a dozen on eBay from you know, all types of sellers. And if you have ever had picture day at school, you would probably recognize these. You know, you have a silver umbrella. What else do we have here? Then you have the more classic, you have a gold umbrella, and finally you have the soft box on the cheap, a translucent white umbrella. So these ones you can either use to shoot light through them and so on, so you can get a very good diffused look with these ones. So yeah, umbrellas, some of the most basic old school but still fairly usable flash accessories, or flash modifiers I should probably say. But then what? If you're gonna go a little bit further with your creativity in flash work, you will start to notice that the flash itself is fairly harsh, and you can use things like the umbrellas to soften it up and cast more light and so on. But what I would really recommend is you know, the handyman's tool to to make your own accessories. Duct tape. This one, you know, you can get these at most hardware stores, or any hardware store I would dare say, and you can use these to make any type of flash modifier you want and so on. One of my favorites are to change the color of the light of the flash itself, and here I have 77mm you know, filters for camera lenses. What do we have? We have red, purple, yellow, green, blue. I mean, you can get these fairly cheap as well on eBay. You know, they don't have to be brand specific. I mean, these are basically no brand and so on. And with a little bit of duct tape and some filters, you're able to tape them to the front of the flashes, which I have done plenty of times. And I'll probably show you a little bit of what you can get when using the creative lighting system and using flashes like these and some accessories like these as well in order to get decent results. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of the examples of what I've been able to do. I probably have some throughout this video about what you can get when using flash guns like these, or rather speed lights as they are properly named. And yeah, I've shown you some of the accessories and so on, but the main way of being proficient with flash is to get inspired. And I've talked many times before, I have the books behind me here by natural geo photographer Joe McNally, an ambassador for Nikon and the creative lighting system. And yeah, as stated, if you want a challenge for 2021 in your photography, I would really recommend you to go into flash work, because that can really be a very entertaining and challenging way of expanding your photographic knowledge and yeah, so on. So yeah, this is basically all for me for now, and as always, this is Tobias Bergstrom from T.B.Photo X1.5 to FX, and I'd like to see you guys in the next video. And as always, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. So take care from now on. Bye.